I'm here with Billy Powers of Wretched to talk about the upcoming new album Decay out October 17th on Metal Blade Records. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me about the album, about everything that went into making it. And let's start with the elephant in the room, and that's not me or you, but the fact that it's been just around a decade since you guys put out brand new material. So,
Mhm.
how was it to get back on the horse, so to speak?
Exciting. Very pumped to do it. I had been talking with Steven um, years prior, seeing him every now and again at shows that his other band would play and whatnot. Just kind of like pushing the idea a little bit, saying like, hey, if you guys are going to start things back up, and if you and Adam doesn't want to keep it going because I know he's got his other band, Holy Roller, and I was just like, I don't. So I'd love to keep doing stuff. So he proposed it to me one day and was like, just don't respond right away. Just think about it, and just get back to me when you can. So I immediately responded as I would because I just kind of live in the moment, and I told him, hell yeah, you know that I want to, so let's do this. But yeah, getting back on the horse was good. It was exciting. Once I started hearing some of the new material that Steven was writing, then I was a little scared, I guess, because it was so out of my comfort zone. Because it's not like it wasn't that fast riff stuff from that I was used to writing to from the Exodus of Autonomy and Beyond the Gate. There's a lot more opportunity for the music to breathe, for vocals to come in and go out where I found it to be necessary. But I will say that the end result is I'm more proud of this album on my end than either of the other two put together. And I personally still feel that those are two really great albums. Um, but yeah, it's solid, and I think we're all really proud of this album and can't wait for everybody to hear it.
So since you start to get some new material and then that's how you kind of start to see the vision for what this album would end up being, does that mean you guys didn't really have a starting point in terms of, okay, we're gonna create a record. This is kind of where we want to start working from and then building from there. Was it a little bit more organic, if you will?
Absolutely more organic. So we had a lot of time to write this album and to curate how we actually wanted it to sound. We definitely wanted to break the mold on what we had been doing in the past. I know Steven definitely wanted to, and so did Marshall, and Andrew. Um, and it wasn't really. I mean, we had tried to, you know, incorporate other writers into it, and it just really wasn't. Uh, they got the memo, but didn't, I guess, so to speak, uh, do the homework correctly. I don't know if how to
They got
really
the memo,
phrase
they
it.
just didn't read it.
Yeah, exactly, sure. And so then it just, I mean, Joel Moore did contribute a bit to this album. Like he helped write. I mean, he primarily wrote "Radiance" and a song called "Lights" on the album. Um, and I know he put a little more effort into it as well. But Steven primarily wrote the majority of the album, and yeah, it was definitely a very organic experience. Like I said, Metal Blade, they put the ball in our court, and they said just basically pass it back to us when you're finished up and you're ready for us to start hearing some of the demos. So Steven just started writing, and was passing the demos to us as he was finishing tracks up. And I wrote the lyrics to every song as they were handed to me. So the story of this, or the concept of this album, is out of order when it comes to listening order, but there is like a definitive um, uh, like chapter points in the album that are would be tough to follow without the liner notes inclusions that are going to be with the physical copies of this record. I feel like I'm kind of like trailing off in my brain right now.
No, no, no. You're
But
you're you're giving a lot of great information, and I'm going to piggyback of some of that information because you said before I felt the same way listening to the album that this album at times it feels a little bit more methodic. It's not necessarily in your face, so
hmm
it does give the songs and even the vocals a little bit more room to breathe. And with that
hmm
in mind, did you feel tested by the way the sound on this album was presented to you? And then obviously you have to put the lyrics, the vocals, everything together.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, this as soon as I started getting the demos, I was taken aback. I was because it wasn't like Exodus of Autonomy or Beyond the Gate. Like it really it was out of my comfort zone like immensely. So I was just like even like the first track that I wrote the lyrics to was track 10 on the album, The Golden Tide. The second one is Blackout, which follows The Golden Tide. So fortunately, those are part one and two of my story, and they do flow very well back to back. But yeah, man, it's very different. And I just kind of sat there and I was just like, what the hell do I do with this? Like, I don't know what the fuck to write. And but I sat there and I like just listened to the Golden Tide. Under its other, working title, over and over and over again, just burying it into my brain. And then once I got the flow down, then I was able to kind of piece together what I wanted to do. But when I sit down and I write lyrics or anything for that matter, I don't really know what I'm going to be writing about. I may have a vague idea of where I want it to go. Like with this release, I knew that I wanted it to be in line with the story that I did with Beyond the Gate. But I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be a direct sequel or a prequel. But once I started writing those lyrics for The Golden Tide, it was very clear after the first verse that this is a prequel, and it's definitely goes back like 1,000+ years. Um, so with Beyond the Gate, I speak about the talisman, the lost talisman of Exorion, and then there's another character named Elturiel that is in that story that has a bond with Sylvester Allido, my main character of that. He has a very similar bond to uh, my main character for this story called Malus. So with the title track, Decay, our first single off this album, the opening lyrics are I call upon El Turiel. So if anybody was, I had a lot of people say, man, I really hope you start doing another story like Beyond the Gate, or, try to tie things up with that story. Anybody that knew the material from that album, to have those be the first lyrics or vocals that you hear come out of my mouth, I think a lot of people were pretty pumped about that, or at least a few people. The few people that gave a damn.
It's probably more than who you think. I think that a lot of people really care, and a lot of people get into the details, as I do when I'm listening to new music, and especially a new record. I want to continue talking about the vocals for a little bit because one of the things I really enjoyed about it was the dynamics that the vocals have throughout the entire record. It's not a one size fits all approach. I mean, there are consistent. It's not like you're giving us some King Diamond stuff halfway through the record at any point in time,
Yeah.
but it's still very dynamic. And I really enjoyed the layering that you guys did, really giving some more thickness at times to the vocal performance, making the vocals heavier, more powerful, almost adding weight to the weight of the sound and that overall
hmm
methodicness that the sound have. How was that process for you? Did you have that vision for how you wanted the vocals, or is that something you guys worked out in the studio?
There was some stuff like, I mean, when I wrote everything, I just kind of had like the one thing in mind. There were certain points where I knew it's just like, okay, this would be really cool with some layers of highs or something like that. I knew that I wanted to incorporate some of the more whispery things that I do on the album. And then like hidden layers of clean vocals. But then we have a song like Clairvoyance where there's really no hiding what I'm doing with my vocals in that song. Um, but yeah, I think a studio had a lot to do with like the weight and the layer and the heaviness. It was just really about it because like I said, we had a lot of time for this one. So it was really just experimentation. Steven and Marshall, were talking about, doing a little more tonal stuff. So with the song "The Royal Body" and "Lights," even in the Golden Tide, pretty much like all over the album, you can find little bits and pieces of just different inflections in my vocals that were all brand new things for me to do. But it was a good time to test out my ability and to see if I could achieve those things. Um, yeah,
Was
that's
it important for you to do that? Because I felt like this album is very hard to categorize this album under a single umbrella as far as a
yeah.
genre is concerned. I mean, we can call it a death metal album because it is a death metal album, but there's like atmospheric elements, there's progressive elements, there's technical elements. There's a lot of different textures sonically. And I felt
Hmm.
that your vocal performance adapt really well to those textures, which goes back to my point. It wasn't a one size fits all approach. You really
Yeah,
gave each song more of its unique fingerprint. So having that sound, was that a catalyst to push you to go into uncomfortable territories?
absolutely. And something that I was gonna touch on, that I mean, I like to talk, so I will forget
Oh, you're in the
to
perfect
say
place.
things. Yeah, but no, man. There's like the way that I approach incorporating my vocals into the music is just thinking about the vocals as just another instrument that can complement everything, make certain areas of the riffs and the guitar work, the drums, the bass sound better and make everything shine more vibrantly. Whether it's the music or just the vocals, by pulling back where I feel I need to, and then having that nice little melodic guitar riff shine through, and then just jumping right back in when it's heavy again, and then pulling back again when that melodic thing comes through. Like, I mean, there are, like, with the Royal Body, there's those melodies in one of the verses, and I'm overlapping those in that first run. But and I like to do stuff like that where, like, I'm like casting a shadow over it, but then that riff comes back towards the end of the song, and that's when I like really pull back and then let that melodic part shine in the areas that it needs to, so that it gives it more depth, and it's not just like, hey, here's this part, here's a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, where the choruses sound like they were just cut and pasted. um Versus like actually adding a different level of depth to that second chorus, to make it sound like, even if the lyrics are the same, um, it's absolutely different than the first time you heard it. But I also do like to change things up and change, like, at least like a few words in the lyrical content, just so that it has more definition and doesn't it's just not a repetitious hunk of music that you can just be like, okay, I've heard enough.
Moving from the vocals to something that does not involve any vocals behind the glass,
Hmm.
I gotta ask you about this song. Let me backtrack here. We live in an era where people have really short attention span. You guys are
Yes, we
releasing an
do.
album that's about an hour,
Hmm.
a little bit over an hour mark, which is like a gamble to a certain degree because people just don't have the attention span. At least in general, I'm obviously generalizing. It's not doesn't apply to everybody. On top
Yeah.
of that, you're releasing a 16-minute instrumental track in the
Yeah.
not in the middle, but in the bottom third of the album. First of all, let me say to you that I thought that was very throwback of you guys. You don't see modern bands or bands today doing what you guys did, releasing an album of that length with this sound, with that kind of instrumental track in that spot of the record. That was really to
Yeah.
me a throwback to the late 80s, early 90s when bands had big instrumental songs and they always had them in the back third of their records. That song to me was just phenomenal. It's phenomenal for two reasons. One, it ties in with the previous track and it ties in with the track that follows. It gives great sequence to that bottom end, but I felt like it was such a gamble from your perspective in terms of creating a song that is so atmospheric, so demanding in terms of how it makes you feel when you listen to it.
Hmm.
To put that on an album that's already an hour long, did you guys see a challenge in it, or you guys just embrace the challenge that it is?
I would say embrace the challenge. Now, yeah, it's as you said, a gamble. I'd say it's very ambitious of us to put out an album that's just over an hour long, and especially having an instrumental that's almost 17 minutes long. Um, it's I don't know if it necessarily started out. Um, with the Steven started out with the intent to do a 17-minute long instrumental. I think that's just kind of where it landed, man. He puts a lot of like emotion and effort and thought into what he's doing when it comes to the music, at least the guitar work on the album. Um, and I mean, we just kind of let him go do his thing because I mean, everybody that's within our four walls, like myself, Steven, Andrew, and Marshall, we're all pretty much given free reign to do what we think works. And fortunately, I think we're all on the same page. Like we got the memo and we all read it. So like we knew what was up when it came to it. But yeah, with Behind the Glass, man, that entire song is just a journey. To I mean, the whole album is a journey, like, but there's such a range of emotion throughout Behind the Glass, where it's like, you've got the beautiful intro, and it's just like kind of like it's like hopeful, but you know that it's something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Um,
it has this ability to feel as it starts, it feels like the outro of the previous track, and then as it ends, it feels
mhm.
like the intro to the track that follows. So it's a little bit of a hybrid song. Obviously, it's a song that lives on its own, but it really bridges two parts of the record, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely I kind of look at it with maybe in not so much as in like a side A and a side B, but it definitely does. I feel like the first half of the album does have a different feel, and then the back end is it gets a little darker, and then with the song Blackout, coming as the penultimate track, that one is just that one I just feel like despair in that track. It just, I mean, it kind of starts off with like a little nice horn sounding intro, which I think is super freaking rad. But it's just really dark, and then we end with um, the the Golden Skyway, and that one I like to call our pop song because it's just like it's bouncy. It. I When Steven sent it to me, I was just like, dude, this is sounds like something Weezer would write. And I'm like, what the hell do I do with this? And then I like started in, man. And like, and again, to touch back up on what you asked about earlier with, the layering and, if that was just like predetermined or studio ideas. The like there's just a lot of like call and response stuff in there, and there's like it's just like layering in the right time, and it sounds like what a pop musician would do or something like that. I just feel like that song is very catchy. It's very positive and uplifting sounding, even though the content may not be. But I feel like that's a good way to end that album because there are such a range of emotions within every single track on that album or this album, and it's we wanted to end it on a positive note so people didn't feel completely diminished by the end of it.
What do you see the future holding for Wretched now that I mean, the album drops, Decay drops October 17th on Metal Blade. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, there was a 10-year hiatus. So, what do you see the future holding for you guys?
Hopefully some pretty awesome things, man. Like we were supposed to be on tour right now, with 6 Feet Under. Unfortunately, like
Yeah,
a
I
week and
saw
a half
that.
before that tour started, we got the word that it was being canceled, um, which was really it's a really a big morale killer for us. Like it's put us all in not the greatest headspaces, just because like we haven't done a full U.S. tour in a long time. It's been since like 2014 or 2015, I believe. Um, and we were really relying on it, not just for financial and mental health reasons, but um, for the sole purpose of getting out there and marketing and being able to meet new people and re-meet old fans that have been waiting forever to see us play. It's just very disappointing that we're putting out a new album in less than a month and we're not going to be on tour to support it. Or just out on tour in general, going to a different city every night and just having a good time with good people. Um, but when it comes to the future, man, we've got a few cool things lined up for 2026 right now. Nothing set in stone, so there's nothing to really announce. But when it, yeah, I definitely expect there to be another album because this album leaves off on a cliffhanger, and I have more story to tell. And I know I'll have more story to tell after that one as well. I definitely want to. I would like to see us, absolutely touring overseas, just going out and not coming back. I just,
Until it's
I
time
just
to
want
make
to
a
be
new
out.
record. Until it's time to make a new record. I
Yeah,
really
yeah, for
hope
sure.
I really hope you guys get to go out on the road a lot during 2026. I mean, this album comes October 17th, so towards the end of this year. So you have 2026 to hit the road, play some
Hmm.
European festivals, do all of that good shit.
Would love
I
to.
really hope that for you guys. And I hope to come across you guys on one of those tours because I would love to hear not just the new record, but the old stuff. I've never got a chance to see you guys live, so I would really be looking forward to doing that and seeing you guys play because this album really kicks ass. It's a great record.
Well, thank you.
It's a demanding record. It's not a record. It's the second album that I've listened this month that forced me to put everything aside and sit down and actually pay attention to it and really dive deep into the record, which to me is a great sign of a great record. It doesn't feel like fast food
Yeah,
musically, if that makes sense. So I
it
really think you
does.
guys have a great record with Decay. I really
Thank
enjoy
you.
listening to it. Man, the vocals, the guitars, outstanding throughout the entire album. Really outstanding. I think to me, those are the two pillars of this album.
Dude, thank you. I'm very, very happy to hear that. And I hope that everybody else feels the same way because
And anybody with 2 years in good taste, I
yeah,
shouldn't say 2 years, anybody who's not deaf, that because you could have 2 years and not hear shit. So
true.
anybody with good taste will be able to see that. I want to leave on a positive note, and I have a very personal question for you. Being a
Yeah.
big fan of porn stashes, I need to ask you this. Uh, what is the secret to having an incredible mustache like the one you're currently rocking? Like for those
um,
of us out there that one day hope to be able to achieve such goals in life.
oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess maybe having some good genes, that helps. My dad always rocked a mustache when I was younger. I don't think I ever saw him without it. And I guess the secret is to let it go. And when you're trimming it up, only trim up the ends because you want to let all of this here get as long as this stuff out here. So that thickens it up all the way out. And then when you try and style it, it's much more likely to bend to your will and you not
Wow.
bend to its.
These are wise words, people. If you're in the mustache game and you're looking at improving your very own mustache or starting your own, these are words to live by. So,
Yep,
Billy, thank you.
mustaches across the globe. I'll be the poster boy.
Dude, if we ever did a poll of best porn stashes in the world of metal, you would be in the top five 100%. You
Hell
you
yeah,
you
dude.
got
Thank you.
something going on there that you should be totally proud of. Outside of the record you guys are releasing, that's secondary as far as
Yeah, of course. Of course. The facial hair is top tier.
that's number one in my books. So,
Yeah,
Billy, man, thank you very much for your time and putting up with my shenanigans. I really,
absolutely, Pedro.
I really appreciate it, man. And once again, I wish you guys nothing but the best with this release.
Thank you.
And I really hope to come across in person in 2026
Absolutely.
and seeing some of you of the shows live.
Yeah, man. I would love to meet you in person as well, man, and let you take a gander at some of our back catalog uh, being performed.
Yeah, that would be absolutely sick. All right, man. Have a great day.
You too, man.
Take care, man. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.